Stephen,
Andrew,
I have a weird feeling that we're being watched. Uh, would you care to keep me company? And hey, man,
hey, happy Halloween.
happy Halloween! Happy Halloween, everybody.
Hey,
We're live.
it's weird talking to people that I can't see.
Very much so. Um, Welcome to everybody. Hope you've enjoyed your evening and a bit of deadline. Um, yeah. Sorry about the delay in getting started. Stephen had to change his pumpkins over.
I did.
Check out that. Yeah, great. Um, so we're here to talk about Deadline, which was directed by Barbara Wiltshire, produced by John Plowman and Adam Tandy and Claire McCarthy, and written by Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton. It was first broadcast live on Sunday, the 28th of October, 2018. So I feel we should start with some notices,
I
just
think
to
we
kind
should
of.
start with taking off these balaclavas, to be
Do you
perfectly
reckon?
honest with you.
Oh, I'm going to leave
Okay,
mine on
great,
for a little bit
great.
longer.
Okay, all
Took
right.
me too long to get into. Um,
Okay. It's not wine, Lauren, it's stout. Yeah,
Stout.
stout.
So Steve's going to keep an eye on the chat. So we've got two methods of chat: YouTube and Twitter. Uh, I have far too many things to control here. Yeah. There's plenty of gremlins that could take over in this situation. But yeah, if you want to get in touch and share your comments or views or whatever, then just use YouTube and use Twitter. And we were kind of discussing, like, because obviously this is in conjunction with the league charities, the League of Charities, and we want to kind of add to that. So anyone who gives to them this evening will be entered into a very special draw, where if you fancy getting your hands on one of our balaclavas, then you can, just like write balaclava in the notes when you donate this evening, and we'll enter you into that draw. It'd be pretty weird if you do that, but we're doing our bit. Also, we don't have clips to sort of. Normally, there's a lot that gets edited out of this show, and I do that with clips, and we don't have many. We've got a few, but yeah, it's all out there for you. You're going to see how the sausage is made.
On the note about technical difficulties, just want to make it clear that if anything does seem like it's going wrong,
It is.
we're not. We're not. Yeah.
We talked about it. Deliberate mistakes, but no, we're not that competent. So, initial thoughts on
Oh, I
Deadline.
love it. I'm so disappointed that I was a little bit late to the party on Inside Number 9 and I didn't get to see it the first time round. It was yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember even the first time I watched it just thinking, no, hang on, this has gone wrong. This is really annoying. But why have they put it on iPlayer still?
Yeah. I was told, watch that. It's amazing. It will blow your mind. Keep watching. So that was the phrase that was in my head when I was watching it. And so when the technical difficulties emerged, I wasn't thinking keep watching because this is all intentional. I was thinking keep watching because they sort out the problems and it is actually good in the end. So even though I didn't watch it live the first time, I was still sucked into believing that it was problematic. So
I think
amazing work.
I think the genius of the whole thing was just that it's so. I mean, the fact that the first time I saw it and you saw it was on iPlayer, even getting taken into a bit then is quite impressive. But when it went live, it's so rare to have a TV event now where people are all watching it at the same time and are all sort of part of it. and being able to weave that in the way they did with the cutting to the dressing room stuff and the tweeting along and showing live TV pictures of Javier Bolsonaro's election, to say, yeah, this is the equivalent of standing there holding a newspaper with today's date on it, saying, no, this is live. Yeah, genius.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like I was trying to remember sort of when I first watched it, when it starts, like, because obviously, it starts typical Inside Number 9 episode, you're outside a Number 9 flat, in goes Arthur Flitwick. What are you thinking that this is going to be at that point?
I don't know, but I really want to know how that episode pans out. It feels like it could be a normal episode. The dialogue's a bit hammed up on purpose, I think, and it's got that feeling, I think, of like the Devil of Christmas. It is that feeling that something's not quite right with the way it's set up, and it's all a bit shaky, and there's boom mics appearing in the top corner and stuff like that, and it's all a little bit off.
Yeah. And my favorite line, which actually I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that clip just to sort of give us a chance to take our balaclavas off, because this is definitely. I love this. Brilliant. She told me. I absolutely love how that just gets completely undermined. The hammed up, terrible acting, great acting. I'm surprised Graham Harper's not involved in this, but. That just completely undermined by Stephanie Cole calling Steve Reese.
Yeah. Not only did she just completely undermine the line that had just been delivered, but then to do it with the wrong name as well.
Yeah.
It was something quite special.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So, have you been able to work out the plot of that?
No, but I don't think they had either, to be perfectly honest with you. It sounded from the dressing room chat that they hadn't figured out how that was going to end, and it looked pretty shambolic.
It's kind of shambolic, isn't it? Yeah, which is great. And I think that's summed up. I don't know if anybody else has got light to shed on it, but that line when she discovers Reese's head in the microwave, and it's like this, it's almost delivered in this kind of profound way of like, after she's offered to make Arthur an egg, microwave him an egg, and she says, I'll crack one open and give you a head start.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that line even mean? A head start on what? Obviously, it's relevant to the fact there's a head in the microwave, but
it's just a dreadful pun.
It doesn't really
go anywhere.
Maybe it's just lost on me, but...
Alison Green's just said, I really want to see the original story done as an episode. And there would have been something brilliant about them uploading a finished version of that episode to iPlayer, so that, as awful as it would have been not to be able to see it, Deadline remained a one-night event only, and there was no way, apart from downloading dodgy torrents and things, of seeing it as it was that night, and any attempt to access it legitimately just led you to the finished episode as it was intended.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a bit like so Ghostwatch, which I hadn't come across before, references to between this one and Ghostwatch, which was a 92 BBC broadcast, which I don't know, from what I gather, was it done live, or was it because it
no.
And it's in the BFI interview with Reese and Steve and Adam and
the
director Barbara. They suggest that it wasn't done live, but I can't remember the point.
It was designed to seem live, wasn't it? It was put out as though it was a live event that was going on. That was a little bit undermined by, you said in the week, like the credits at the end, where all this stuff kicks off, and then and then you get the credits at the end, which explain exactly what you've just been watching. And even at the beginning, Reese says it written by,
Yeah.
So you're about to watch a staged piece of TV. And I think Reese kind of said, obviously, Ghostwatch played a little bit of a role in it. It was a similar kind of thing. That it was a live broadcast that went wrong around spirits.
Yeah.
But
Although
really, the main go on.
I was going to say that the big difference is that was a Halloween broadcast about ghosts. This wasn't. This was supposed to just be a live episode of Inside Number 9, and then the ghosts and the gremlins emerge into it. And so you're not. I think what I find really fantastic about this episode is how they play on your fears, which are not ghosts. Something's going to go wrong with a live broadcast. And so you're watching it thinking, like,
I can very much relate to that right now.
yeah, exactly. And so you're already in that place of expectation that something could go wrong. And so when those and I think that the seed that's sown with that first little silent glitch, when Steve's talking, and then you're like, oh, did that just happen? And then there's that transition, Reese appears, and the sound fails. And I think that is playing into that fear and you just think, oh, there you go, it's gone wrong. And then when the continuity announcer crops up, you're like, yeah, confirmation. And she plays it so well as well. Like, it's a genuine, like, it doesn't sound like a scripted part. It's that kind of, oh, I better stand in and, do my job here. But it's also ad-libbing a bit in a spontaneous situation.
So there's a lot in these silent bits and in the continuity announcer bits. So there's the inaudible bit of script delivery, which I'd really like to know what that was written as. Is it just nonsense? Is Reese just talking nonsense at that point? Or is there a bit of script somewhere that exists that has some clues to the story in there?
What, the whispering thing that goes on?
No, the actual bit of the dialogue that's going on when the sound is cut out.
Oh, in that, okay, yeah.
And they're having the conversations. Yeah,
I'm not good enough lip reader. Yeah,
no. But then also, the whispering stuff that's going on in the background of continuity announcer. Is there something being said there? Is it, I don't know, is it just inaudibly low? Is it backmasked? Is there... Yeah.
I listened to it through headphones and picked up a couple of words. So the word sin, it's my fault, and what was the other one? There's something else that I picked up, but it's really frustrating because it's like the whispering only happens when she's talking.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other bit. I've written too many notes. It's pointless having notes.
Simon's just said that we need Janet from Empty Orchestra for the lip reading.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, I can't remember.
It sounded like an enchantment. Yeah.
That's true. It did. Wisdom was another thing. Something about wisdom, I heard.
Maybe that was the evil enchantment being sort of put over the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it ruined the whole thing.
It seemed to work.
So it ruined it. Yeah, and so it's amazing that so it cuts to the continuity announcer for was about 40 seconds with that music, and then goes back to the live episode for about 15 seconds, all silent.
Are we at the 9 minutes yet? Because the 9 minutes is where it properly kicks off, isn't it?
That's when it goes to
Quiet Night In.
Quiet Night In, yeah. So there's the little clip of more silent stuff. Then the continuity announcer comes back in and says, we're not going to be able to show you this. We're going to show you a Quiet Night In instead.
Okay, I just need to address something that's going on in the chat here.
Okay.
Tim wants to know if anyone's mentioned how impressive it is they managed to fit in so much into half an hour.
Do you know what? That's the first thing on my notes.
How do they do it?
I mean, it feels like a lot longer than half an hour,
It
doesn't
does
it?
feel like a lot longer than half an hour.
I don't know if is that a good thing or a bad
Right.
thing.
Lauren's let him know that we mention it every week, Tim.
Yeah. Bingo. Yeah.
If you want to send pictures of bingo cards that you've got, because we've become so predictable, do send them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a paint by numbers podcast. Yeah, and I love the fact that a fifth, so 20% of viewers turned off when A Quiet Night In hit. And one of the things that I think is so fantastic about that is that it's so long. So if you're kind of doubting the kind of validity of this, the fact that A Quiet Night In plays for such a long time before you see that first ghost,
It's
really,
almost like they want to kind of really separate the wheat from the chaff at
Exactly.
this point. Like, really, are you sticking along with this or not?
Yeah.
Tim's also mentioned chloroform. I was looking for a way of getting that in. I've been struggling. It'll appear at some point, I'm sure.
I'm sure. It always does. It doesn't always. It's not. Yeah, we're not that predictable, surely. So, first ghost. There she is. Steve can't see what everybody else can see and what I can see, but I've just put up the image of A Quiet Night In. The girl ghost appears in the background of the garden. I can't remember if I saw her properly the first time I was watching.
I didn't. I remember I saw the it was when she's up at the window. Fine, I saw that one, but it was only going back again that I saw in the background at the back of the garden. I think I was too busy paying attention to Steve.
Yeah.
Doing his slapstick stuff.
Yeah. Me too. And then she appears at the window.
And I think that it's really, really cool that them sort of playing with their own stuff, in that they're inserting and manipulating something that they've already created. I think there's something really quite cool about that.
Yeah, and I think that because they talk about the kind of narrative of the show being involving all of the stuff around the show. So, like later on when we get into the kind of Twitter aspects and Wikipedia being updated to kind of talk of Steve and Stephanie Cole's deaths, like, you know, and some people had taken it on themselves to actually update Wikipedia like in real time, essentially. And Stephen Rees say they were absolutely nothing to do with that, but like that is now a part of the narrative of the show itself. And in the same way as I was talking about Ghostwatch, it was actually really quite difficult to find it to watch. And the narrative around that show is all of the stuff that is like the hyped up kind of, you know, people were traumatized afterwards and all of this stuff. Like,
and I think also that was the thing with Ghostwatch as well, was, and Reese said they took a lot of the subliminal inserting of figures and stuff from the whole pipe stuff in Ghostwatch. And that was the main influence that Ghostwatch had on this, was that aspect. There's almost a rewatchability around it, just from the point of view of, you know, there are things in there that you've probably missed here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought I like the fact that they took one of the most slapstick sequences that they have in A Quiet Night In, and they inserted something so horrific into it. It catches you off guard, because that is such a silly moment. Them messing around out in the back garden is just so silly, and it's hilarious. And it's suddenly replaced with this awful, figure.
Yeah, and we see her a few times through the episode.
She does get around in this episode, doesn't she?
Yeah, she seems like the main. Even though, like, Alan, what's his name?
is Alan.
Alan,
Alan.
who I always see as Ben Stokes, is the kind of the main named ghost.
Yeah.
But there's all these other ones that have obviously been part of that 20,000 buried on the site of where Granada Studios now is, who have always been there.
Always.
You having fun? You having a bit of a giggle?
Sorry, I just got we just got a message saying that now we have hat hair from the league. Charities.
I know. We didn't have time to get the hairdryer out and sort of
It always looks like this.
Reboof on.
The bodies under the bodies buried in the car park thing was they said that was part of the reason they didn't get to use Granada for real was that they started digging up and they dug up too early for them. Well, you won't be able to get your stuff in now. We've dug up the car park.
Yeah. And I love the so it's like that mixture of truth and fiction that, again, within half an hour, because those, and they'd planted the story in the Sun, I think the week before. That was all about, they'd decided not to use Granada because which
haunting stories
kind of contradicts them being doing the thing at Granada, but we'll overlook that. But so they said they won't go there because it's haunted by ghosts of people, ex actors from Coronation Street, and one of which is called Elsie.
Elsie and Moira.
Yeah.
Were from Coronation Street.
Yeah, which is maybe, why there's such incoherence with the story. Like it was being meddled with by ghosts right from the word go without Stephen Rees kind of realizing when they were writing it,
Have you got any more about names, or have you left that alone?
Do you know what? I've been so busy on the technology, I haven't had time to look into names. Sorry, guys.
Good.
Steve will be happy. He hates my name theories.
It's all right, but you've been talking to me about phones and communication.
Phones? I mean, yes. Sorry. So this, if anything kind of nods to the fact that Inside Number 9 is mainly about communication and especially phones, this is it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the ghosts are in the technology and they use it, and electricity and stuff.
Like a stopped clock. You're right. Twice a day on this.
Twice a day. We only do one a week, so that's 14 times a week. I'm right on something that we do once a week. So, what have you done? Right. This is the point at which I'd normally play a clip.
Or cut something.
I'm going to. Wait, I'm going to. Wait.
Go on. What have you got?
I've got this one. Have you ever coddled an egg in the microwave?
I've never coddled an egg in a microwave or otherwise. Are there other ways of coddling an egg?
Well, do you know what? You should have researched this before, but is it just like a kind of word for, like, similar to poaching?
Thank you, Lauren. That clip was exquisite.
Nice.
Coddled eggs. I mean, it's research we can do now.
Because I've cooked eggs in the microwave before, but I didn't realise I was coddling them, if that's what I was doing to them.
Coddled eggs are cooked in a coddler.
A mug.
I don't know. I don't understand.
I start calling drinking.
No.
I'm drinking coffee out of a coddler.
Is that? I don't. Yeah.
Anyone?
Do we know exactly what it means to coddle? Thank you, Isla. Coddled eggs are eggs that are gently or lightly cooked in water just below boiling temperature, in or out of the shell or other container. But Simon, this smacks of being copied and pasted. I refuse to believe that you've just typed that.
So you could coddle an egg in its own shell.
Isn't it just boiling an egg?
No, if you cracked the egg open.
Citation needed. Yes.
I don't know. Coddle.
This has gone back.
I suppose is that like cuddle, like similar to like holding something that holds a
mollycoddling.
Yeah,
sounds...
you hold. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to get into this now.
No, this is. You can research that at your leisure if you'd like to, guys.
Yeah.
Did he have any hobs? I don't know, W&G fan.
That's a good
question. Didn't look like he had any hobs.
No, mainly a microwave user. Did he have hobs?
One method is to break the egg in an egg coddler, porcelain cup, or ramekin with a lid and cook using a bain-marie.
There you go.
They're like a poached egg.
Yeah, that's the impression.
Simon's gone off on one. Simon's giving me like a blow-by-blow Nigella Lawson account of how to coddle an egg.
Without a microwave or with a microwave?
I'm pretty sure. Well, he's given me a bain-marie. I don't know if you can. Does a bain-marie apply in a microwave as well? I can't believe we've spent this much time talking about egg coddling.
We'll be losing viewers.
But gaining members of the egg coddling community who are tuning in.
It's a big community.
I'm assuming it's in the title. We've had Simon's also just sent us some pictures of pipes in Ghostwatch.
Is it similar to?
It's similar to the ones that we see in. It's those quick camera swings and things. We see it like with Alan in the doorway, and there's the one with pipes when he was stood in front of the curtains when you just catch him on the swing around.
Yeah. I absolutely love those kinds of. I'm a big fan of ghost stories generally, and Ghost Stories the play. Andy Nyman. Did you come to see that in the theatre?
I don't think so.
A few years ago, many years ago. First horror theatre that I've ever been to. It was exhilarating. I'll be honest. You're right there.
Yeah, sorry, I was just grabbing a beer.
Oh, fair play. What was I saying? Yeah, Ghost Story. Like there's something about them, and the way when things are like alluded to and like chilling stories about. Do you know what the Deadline as a title reminded me of? Well, first of all, it reminded me of Goosebumps. Because it got me thinking like, is this going to be about? It's going to be about like some journalist who is working to a deadline and actually realizes that if they hit the deadline, then they're going to get killed. Something like that. And it was like, actually,
that's got R.L. Stein written all over it.
It's probably more of a point horror title.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, do you know what I was like? All right, point horror. I went and looked at some of the titles. There's a lot of two-word titles. Like this, aren't they? They're all like this. So April Fools, Beach Party, Dream Date, Freeze Tag. Although none of them kind of work as one word. Party Line, Fatal Secret.
Don't start with one word, two
Childlike.
Unbelievable.
So
still stand by that tweet.
Do you know, was that a little meta thing of at Deadline? Because Deadline's one word.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it was?
Is that what he's done there?
I don't know. Because you've been having sleepless nights all week. Because Reece Shearsmith
has been tweeting you at 4 in the morning going...
grammar Nazi at you.
Seriously. I've just looked it up again and it's still one word.
It's one word. I think I would accept a hyphen in between childlike if it's like childlike.
I'm sorry, I've hijacked your point horror point.
No, it's basically just to have a dig at. That's what it was. But it's true. It's one of those titles that you see in that kind of like that's teen horror fiction, isn't it? Point horror. It's the gateway to like Stephen King. I remember I went through that. I used to love Goosebumps. I used to read Goosebumps.
I did.
Point horror. And then I remember getting some Stephen King books and my parents being like, not reading them.
You're not ready for this.
You're not reading them.
So Simon seems to have appointed himself as like a fact checker in the chat here. We've got childlike as a compound adjective. I'm waiting. More must be coming. I'm
not sitting around here to wait for more of that.
I did. I remember Goosebumps. The one I remember best was the one with the dummy, Night of the Living Dummy. Because I remember when I bought it, it came with a pair of glasses that had little mirrors at the side that allowed me to look behind me.
Really?
Yeah, they were really cool.
Like little wing mirrors.
Yeah, basically wing mirrors on sunglasses.
Nice.
I'm not sure what the link was.
I think there was probably
possessed ventriloquist dummy.
I reckon there were sequels to that one as well. That was.
I think I think I started with Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Yeah, that's really sensible. Always start with the second one.
It is.
Yeah, I remember. The Haunted Mask was my first.
Lauren had the glasses as well.
There you go, guys.
Yeah, all the cool kids.
Yeah. So yeah, we're big fans of two-word, like Night of the Living Dummy, Night of the. That's more. Right, got any more points? Sound.
Sound was I mean, aside from the little bits of dialogue, the inaudible bits, which were sort of quite frustrating to not be able to hear, the music and stuff was pretty superb.
Yep.
I've in the week I watched the little documentary thing with the behind the scenes of Christian, what was his name? Christian Henson putting together the live scoring for it. That's quite an undertaking.
Yeah,
it was madness.
Phenomenal. Yeah, and seeing him put together the sounds and stuff, and I think what's brilliant about this episode as well is you've obviously got those two aspects to it. So you've got the scored part in terms of it being an obviously scored. There's music. You're thinking this is a fictional story, but then as soon as A Quiet Night In turns upside down, literally, you are into a more kind of ambient horror sound. You don't have music in this bit because it's not deliberate, or it's not supposed to be deliberate. And so it has that, I mean, it's a David Lynchy aspect to it with the just haunting electrical buzz and low tones and just the creation of everyday or turning everyday sounds into really unnerving, unsettling things that just add to the horror. It's
when it's the everyday stuff to the extent that you almost take it in subliminally and you don't realize the effect it's having on you in terms of building up the tension and building up the horror.
Yeah.
And that's quite amazing.
Yeah. And even the phone, like the sound of the phone, when it rings and it's Alan, and Stephanie answers it and she's like undermining Inside Number 9 brilliantly. Yeah. When that phone rings, there's something about the emptiness around the sound of the phone ringing that is just really haunting. And I think that it's the use of silence is just as great as the use of noise. And like going back to the first silence, when Reese enters as Reverend Neil, and you get it. There's just no dialogue. It comes from that amazing transition. So like the when the camera pans around and you go from day into night, which I think's like amazing. So that's one of the live bits, I'm presuming. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it must be. Yeah,
69.5% of this was live.
not enough to win it an award for a live broadcast.
Apparently not. So I'd be presuming that is one of the live bits. So it's kind of a change of lighting outside the windows in the studio, and then Steve closes the curtains and takes his jacket off, whatever. But even that, for me, was a great precursor to it going silent, because it was like they've concentrated so hard on this amazing cut or this amazing transition that their sounds just failed because they've forgotten to.
That's true, yeah.
And so, I think that just made it even more kind of authentic for me. I don't know.
I think, and I got this sense that with the camera work there, they gave themselves so much to do in terms of filming techniques in this and combining various different things. It was just madness. I don't know who decides, right, we're gonna go for a live broadcast, something that they themselves, it wasn't their idea, it was given to them. It was, do you fancy doing a live broadcast for us? That'd be great. To then creating this thing that's, they didn't decide to take an easy route when they decided to have standard multi-camera setups that they'd usually have for filming episodes, to then using CCTV footage that they themselves knew was quite difficult to work with from when they were doing Cold Comfort. And that, I thought, was genius, the CCTV stuff panning around the corridors, because it was that exact same thing as Cold Comfort of, I'm expecting something to happen here. Yeah. I'm expecting something to appear right now. And it didn't until the second pan when the girl is in the corner.
Yeah.
Which I think if you got a picture of there.
I do. I'll
you might.
Ready? Here we go. Yeah, there
I
she
can't
is.
see this, so I'll assume you've done that.
Yeah, she's done.
And that feeling that you know something is coming when it switches to that sort of shot. And they've also got the CCTV running in the dressing room, watching them as well. That wasn't enough, though. We then had to have Reese's helmet with his GoPro mounted on it that was then going to become for our big finale of him running through with night vision as well, not just point of view cameras. We then pop in some night vision cameras in there as well. Just mad.
Yeah. Because I suppose
what are you doing, guys?
Again, it's similar to the sound. You're thinking about how can you make this as authentic as possible, and it's obviously not found footage either, because it's a live broadcast. You're using the things that are there in the live broadcast of the thing that the fictional show. You're using those things to then be like present an authentic thing to the people watching. And it's just tough but amazing and genius. And
I also like that Reese's character as the Reverend is the kind of man to sit down in someone's house and accept a cup of tea whilst continuing to wear his bike helmet.
Well, do you know what? He either had to be a vicar, with like a cycling vicar, which is a typical trope, cycling vicar, or a rugby referee.
It's like Nigel Owens in your front room.
It's like he had to go, all right, boys, right? Yeah. That, and could have got away with that. They could have written Nigel Owens into this.
Lauren wants to know if she can touch his helmet. Oh, Lauren, bringing down the tone of this broadcast.
Turned it into a 15. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, priest. Priest, apparently not a vicar.
Well, he's referred to as a vicar.
W&G fan.
I would. This this was an issue that I had watching it, because he's obviously the vic. Well, he's referred to as the vicar of St. Catherine's. Everything seems quite Catholic, but they do call him a vicar. So I don't know whether that, we'll have to speak to Stephen Rees about that. But the word vicar is used. So
you're safe.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. It is more of a kind of Protestant vicar thing to ride around on a fold-up bicycle, in my experience.
Dare I ask what method of transport a Catholic priest would use?
I'm not sure.
Just not a fold-up bike.
In my experience of Catholic priests.
Simon's back. Vicar is the title given to certain parish priests in the Church of England.
Yeah, true.
There you go. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah. So it's a question of, is St. Catherine's a Catholic or a Protestant church?
Broomstick is what Simon is suggesting. How Halloweeny.
Nice.
Simon, are you free most Sunday evenings? Because we spend a lot of time fact-checking things.
And still get it wrong.
Historically, Anglican parish priests would divide into rectors, vicars, and rarely perpetual curates. Where are you pasting this from?
He's like an automaton just walking around. Yeah, a vicar is rare.
Simon just hears a keyword and then spits out facts.
Yeah. So we've missed a ghost.
We've missed a ghost.
I'm going to just show a clip of the man on the set by the graveyard.
Is that when it pans around?
Yeah. This was my number 3 ghost before before the girl on the CCTV panning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one that you look at and think, did I see that? And I think that's the case with a lot of them. Like, did I see that?
And I think that's the pipes thing. That's the pipes and the Ghost Watch inspiration in this. I think is them inserting those little things you're not quite sure. And I think that is your best horror, isn't it? That is where you're not sure what you've just seen, whether it's your mind creating something to freak you out a bit, or whether it's been put in there. Yeah.
And because that ghost is the one just before the Bobby Davro clip, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
is one of the most excruciating. Bobby! Oh, Bobby! Don't do anything, Bobby!
I was so disappointed to find out that wasn't something that ever went out to broadcast.
Yeah.
And that most people haven't seen it. I think more people need to see that.
Nice.
Bobby.
It's horrific. Yeah.
Poor Bobby. Yes, Tim. Poor Bobby Davro.
It's so Wicker Man with like Keith Chegwin and Jim Bowen and Lionel Blair just dancing around singing "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life." Face plants. I was reading there's a interview with Keith Chegwin about it before he died. And yeah, he was saying it was the day that Bobby Davro nearly died. Like, imagine face planting like that towards a concrete floor with
just it rushing
no
towards
ability.
You, knowing there's nothing you can do. Your hands are in stocks.
So there was a gremlin. That was one, except it was BBC and not Granada. But that was one of the.
They just wanted to use it, didn't they?
Yeah, just so you could do impressions.
Mainly, and because of that, Reese really loved the bit at the end from the health and safety training. That thing that Simon's now just posted. Cheers, Simon. Last minute good idea. Pillory purchased by the prop buyer. Pillory assembled incorrectly. Pillory should have been designed as part of the overall production set.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, actually, Lauren's right. You just said Keith Chegwin's dead.
Is he?
No, you just said he was.
I think I did, didn't I? Yeah.
You did, yeah. You just
Is
freaked
it?
everyone out.
Is he dead?
I don't know.
He is dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he died in 2017.
Yeah.
I think you've just broken some news to Lauren.
Sorry,
It's devastating.
sorry, Laura. I should have been more sensitive in the way that I told you that.
I mean, it's been 3 years. Yeah, I think you're right. It's been 3 years.
I feel terrible.
What's GBNF?
What?
Simon, what does GBNF stand for?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I honestly don't know.
I don't know. This is dead air.
It is dead air. Sorry.
Come on. Can't afford this sort of thing on podcast.
Not when it's live.
Not
It's
when you're
slacking.
I can edit these things out when, often do.
What, when you accidentally reveal that celebrities have died? Come on, mate.
Yeah, no, I was surprised when I said it as well.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right to say,
Who
but
knew? Who knew?
it's true. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I hadn't realised.
Lionel Blair's still alive,
I think he is.
so
Is that
and
something?
Bobby Davro.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, let's have a look at more of the ghosts.
Yeah, there are many.
The ghost legs are one of
The
the
ghost
freaky
legs.
ones. So they're there for a long time in the dressing room. And then, so the clip I've got is this. After Stephanie's slit her throat and the ghosts in the mirror, the legs in the mirror start walking. Oh, and now we're back. Wasn't a very long clip.
Don't do that to me. I was just catching up on the chat and there's all sorts going on.
Is there?
Well, GBNF was gone but not forgotten, which Simon obviously let us know of. Lauren then said catch up man, and Simon said don't use an acronym for that. It's
Guys.
it's all gone a bit 18 in the chat.
Yeah.
Ghost legs.
Ghost legs.
So Ghost legs is one of the hidden ghosts in the dressing room stuff. Reese is insistent that there is a ghost in that scene that no one has seen or will ever see. I don't know. Oh yeah, I don't know how he can say that. So, which ones are we aware of?
Yeah, that's this is the problem with what he says, because and he says he's not going to tell you which one it is. So
How do we know?
you could say that about anything, right?
No one's noticed the ghostly figure that wanders through my dining room now and again. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, although apparently my pumpkin's flickering.
I was going to say they look like they're fading.
They are. I think the most middle class thing that I've ever done was to fetch some spare tea lights in case the ones in the pumpkin went out during this.
Emergency tea lights.
I've got emergency tea lights.
I feel really bad that I didn't pumpkin my room up. Getting a bit hot.
Warm.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go through. So obviously ghosts. So the next one after ghost legs is
Ghost legs really undermines the horror a bit, doesn't it?
Ben Stokes behind.
So does Ben Stokes.
So at the end of that, yeah, the she told me. Alan appears and then walks towards the camera, I think. And so this, I find the timing interesting of so it's like from the rehearsal episode, isn't it? Which starts at 30 minutes, which would, in theory, I suppose, be after the end of an Inside Number 9 episode.
Does it? Isn't it 15:30?
It's 15:30, as in the time, yeah. 15.
So is that
half
15
three.
minutes and 30 seconds? Or is it 15 minutes and 30 seconds in?
It's 15 hours, 32 minutes, 40 seconds, and 12 split seconds, or whatever. I don't know. Tenths of a second. Yeah, so it's, like when you cut to the shower, you know, when Arthur's in the shower with a knife covered in blood.
What is happening in this episode?
Reverend Neil is already, his head is already in the microwave, so I'm not sure exactly what Arthur's doing.
Like, okay, I could get on board with Arthur in the shower trying to clean himself down after slicing the Reverend's head off. I can get on board with that.
Just put the knife down for a bit.
He's still holding the knife threateningly.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. But yeah, that starts about 30 minutes. Or, I mean, it might just be the time. 15, 30, in the middle of the afternoon. That's when they've done the rehearsal.
Yeah.
They might have started it at 3:20. Who knows? So the point I'm making is probably completely irrelevant. But...
Oh, there was...
Yeah.
Have we cut back to the dressing room when... Oh, no. Has Stephanie slit her throat yet?
She did that at Ghost Legs.
So she did that at Ghost Legs, but Ghost Legs start walking. Is that what
Yeah, I've
the clip
shown
was?
Ghost
You showed
Legs
that?
start
Okay.
walking. Yeah.
Ghost Legs walk, because Ghost Legs were there for quite a while.
And they were there for ages. So they were there.
I saw a suggestion that they were there. It was someone who was, W&G fan said, I think that was a camera person to capture the screenshot of Stephen Reese with the live footage. There's some more legs later that we weren't sure whether they were supposed to be there.
But there is a lack of legs earlier.
Whilst they're on screen.
Yeah, while they're in the dressing room. But yeah, there are some legs which I captured as a ghost, but was like, is it a ghost?
Not be a ghost.
It might just be a stagehand, which I'm going to show you now. At the top of those steps are some legs.
I can't see this. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I don't know what people think of those legs. They look like jeans. They look like sort of maybe a sort of 20s, 30-year-old producer type camera person.
I don't think that they would have accidentally left any legs in here. But then again, I say left as though it wasn't live.
That's the thing. With a live broadcast, you might leave legs hanging around. Like, it's a chance. There is a chance you'll leave legs at the top of the stairs. Yeah. So, I don't know. See what people think. But in that...
Tim Wilton Davis is coddling some legs.
Coddling legs. Oh, it's nice.
Isla's asked if those legs if the legs are akimbo. They were not legs akimbo.
Legs akimbo.
Theatre group. Oh, make sure you butter them first. Simon.
Guys.
Simon's out of control.
I've got a cage we could put Simon in later.
Hang on. Is this going to require chloroform? There it is.
A more definite ghost in that environment is the return of the Quiet Night In female ghost. This one in the mirror, which you told me about. I went to the next scene when Reese is in there with his head camera. I was like, I can't see this ghost that you're talking about. There's no ghost in the mirror, which is where I stumbled upon the legs. was like, when you say mirror, do you mean top of the stairs?
No,
Is
I
that
mean
what
the big
you
long reflective glass thing attached to the wall.
Yeah, no, she's definitely there.
She is.
Very good.
I think it's quite interesting that ghost seems to be the one that's really concentrated on.
Yeah.
When there's so much chat about Alan, and nothing's mentioned of this other young girl who could be haunting the studios.
Yeah.
But she seems to be the focus because she crops up a fair few times.
Yeah. And she's, I mean, as in terms of a creepy monster, she looks great. Because that, I mean, I think we've talked before, haven't we, about revealing the monster is always a dangerous thing to do, because it kind of, the scariest thing I find with stuff is what your imagination creates.
Yeah, completely.
But then I think with things like this, it's playing with your imagination, and when it's like, did I just see that? And it gives you those haunting moments where you're like, ooh.
And that's the thing, is that you are shown it, but in such split seconds, little portions
Yeah.
that are just building up in your mind. The overall, you get to the point where, I mean, we've taken stills of all these things, and there it's very clear. But whilst you're watching, they are so quick. There is a quick camera pan round, and it's gone. And there is a quick flash, we're talking about the odd couple of frames here and there of you seeing it, and then it's gone. So your imagination is still having to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, exactly.
And your imagination is an incredible thing, and it can suggest that a deer was watching a murder happen.
And it can be so right about stuff. Yeah, exactly. Good point.
So that just appeared in the chat, and I had to try and sneak it in. Chloroform and deer are standards.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, exactly. And I think what you're still left with is the imagination of like, what are these things capable of, or what are they going to actually do? Because I think that's the point where a monster kind of undermines itself, is when it starts to like eat people and things like that, and you start to see that, and it's like, you've revealed too much. I don't, and
the monsters in this are, I mean, in terms of what they actually do, we see a mop bucket shoved over. We see the random inserting of archive clips into a live broadcast.
See Bobby Davro pushed on his face.
We see Bobby Davro pushed on his face. And we see Stephanie kind of almost, I guess, possessed, and eventually killing herself. And I guess that's the most brutal one. But in general, there's not a whole lot going on until the very, very last bit, where we're kind of really left to kind of imagine what's just happened to Reese. Because what happens to Steve is very much a sort of, it's not a direct thing.
No, it's a result of
just a mop bucket being shoved over. No, the coddled egg is not a Chekhov's gun, Lauren.
They're all killed by eggs. In a roundabout way.
No coddled eggs were used by spirits. I guess that's quite creepy, in that it's kind of a creeping thing going on through the episode, where all these little things are happening and being affected.
Yeah, almost a bit like that theme of fate that comes up time and time again, and will be talked about in the next episode of Tempting Fate. But yeah, that kind of unseen forces that creates little situations or circumstances that then lead to certain things. Which even with Reese's end, it is him probably either falling down the stairs or like falling and smashing his head on something or whatever that actually is what kills him. A bit like Alan, you know, maybe it's a heart attack. And actually, I mean, it turns out he hanged himself, didn't he? But
good catch there, mate. That was hanged, not hung. As as we are told in the riddle of the Sphinx.
Exactly. I've learned a lot doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even that, like, because the ghosts say they've been here, they've always been here. So Alan is a new ghost, like he's only been there 10 years. So he's not the main haunter of this like set or this situation. He's just one of a cast of thousands. A little elbow reference there.
No one was expecting that. There you go. None of you were treating that as a thing that you knew was coming, an elbow reference.
Yeah. I'm actually credited in, is it that album? I think it's that album. I'm credited in.
You?
Yeah. Singing along at Glastonbury 2002. Yeah.
By name? Or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
part of a crowd?
No, they said go on this website afterwards
okay.
and write your name in.
Nice.
There's a lot of names, but mine is there. Yeah. Andrew.
Just Andrew. That's all I put in. I really wanted people to know.
With an exclamation mark, all in capitals. Of course. Yeah, so like talking of, this is one of my favourite ghost appearances.
Which one is it?
I only managed to capture, it's the girl, it's the, so it's the night
when
vision.
he falls over?
It's the night vision. Is this when he falls over? So I think she's around near the graveyard. And it just flicks on and then flicks away. And so you're looking at that and you're thinking, that is definitely a person, but it could be something else, which is, you know, what Ghost Watch is so good at sort of, you know, talking about that kind of the like rational view of, no, you're just seeing you're seeing the things that you want to see and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a perfect capture of that. Michael Parkinson's brilliant in Ghost Watch. He's a great skeptic.
I think his that whole character he builds up because I think he was needed in that. The skeptical character was definitely needed, and that's what sold it, I think, for a lot of people and left them feeling like they were watching something real. Well,
and because it's Michael Parkinson, the trust that you have in Michael Parkinson as well as like a pretty straight up dude.
Not anymore. I'll never believe a word he says.
No.
Ever again.
No, especially after the Sun Life commercials.
They don't pay out. Just checking Michael Parkinson is still alive. He is still alive.
Yeah, he is. It's fine. Selling Parker pens. For Sun Life. Yeah, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see the ghost in this one.
I mean, I can't at the moment, but
you can't. I think it's in the background.
I love these things that you're not really sure if it's there or not.
This is a good example of that. You know, just
you're leaving it up to your imagination.
Your imagination's playing tricks on you. Yeah. So it's Ben Stokes. There he is.
And that does look like the Quiet Night in Ghost. Well,
is that one or is that which one?
Well, the thing is that you don't really see the girl's face, and she looks like if you did take a big zoom in on her, there might be the demonic face there that you see.
Yeah, that's true actually.
So it may well be her.
Yeah.
Lauren's saying it's Stokesy.
Stokesy. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Oh.
yeah.
The night vision segment I like. Like I say, they didn't make life easy for themselves at all. Um, night vision. The thing with the night vision is that you're getting a feed from the camera, and so it's the camera that can see. The person who's wearing the camera cannot see what that camera sees.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not seeing any of those things. Reese's character Reese, I guess, does not see that ghost at the end. His camera does. We see it. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't see the group of people, the group of ghosts, the big ghostly collective around the graveyard scene at all. And
No.
I think
I'll get that up.
Those night vision scenes are really stressful to watch. I remember the first time I watched Silence of the Lambs with that night vision scene at the end with Buffalo Bill. That it's terrifying.
It's horrible. Yeah, when you can't see, you want control and you've like lost control of everything.
Yeah, Ugh.
Yeah. I guess the figures of those ghosts and that big jump scare there.
Jump scare.
Jump scare. We'll talk about that in a second. That reminds me of The Descent as well. Have you seen The Descent?
Oh God, yeah. We watched The Descent.
We watched it. Yeah, I think we did. Which is, I think that's just pure, proper horror, like just shit yourself stuff, like which I love. Or I can't. I mean, I watched The Babadook a couple of years ago.
I haven't watched that yet.
Took me about 6 or 7 sittings because I managed about 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm too scared.
Unlike Paranormal Activity, which I watched the other day and was for the first time, was like, there's nothing happening. There's nothing happening.
Yeah. Jump scare.
Still nothing. No, a little bit, maybe. Bang. There's nothing happening.
A mop bucket has fallen over.
Mop bucket.
Did you see the string on the bucket?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Is there a string on the bucket?
There's quite an obvious string. Yeah. But it's fine. Has to fall over somehow, doesn't it?
That was the point that Reese said the other day, that the rain started hammering down on the studio roof.
Oh, is that real?
That's real rain.
Yeah,
because they were so close to the end of. They were so close to the end of filming, and then the heavens opened, and they had this ridiculous noise battering down.
That's interesting. Like I made a note of that as a. I presumed it was a deliberate sound because it's quite unnerving. Like it's a really unsettling noise, which links obviously to the mop and bucket and water, and then foreboding for the electrocution.
No, that wasn't written.
Ah, there you go.
But what we're finding here is that throughout our series of talking about these, we've given them too much credit. Sometimes things just fall into place.
That's true. Yeah.
But they do fit a lot into half an hour.
They do fit those in. Well, this was longer than half an hour. Be fair.
Only 30. You'll be pleased to know that the chat has descended into just listing cricketing fielding positions. Oh, we've got rain stop play, Duckworth Lewis. Leg slip, city mid off, city point. This is all just Ben Stokes related, I think.
Leg theory. What's leg theory?
Leg theory.
Tim Wilton Davis.
Talk to us, Tim.
Leg theory.
Or Simon. Simon, leg theory.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it was bowling. It was a bowling idea.
Was it? Leg theory?
Yeah, it was like a philosophy of bowling.
Oh, okay.
Now Simon's just saying words. Jardine, bodyline. Yeah, this is like dealing with a computer.
Yeah.
Well,
you've entered the word cricket.
Tell us. Oh, leg theory is bodyline.
All right.
Well, I did not realize they were one and the same. Classic Yorker. Thank you, Lauren.
Right.
Didn't see this coming.
Right. Let's turn this googly around. Come on. I'm getting off the chat.
Close the chat.
So yeah, what did I say I was going to come back to? Oh yeah, the jump scare.
Yeah. Oh, but when
The use of that.
when Reese is back, that's when he goes sort of through the back area, isn't it?
So to speak, yeah.
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 Well,
yeah, he goes
is there
into
a
that
ghost in
cage,
there?
which you're like, that's one of those moments in a horror film where you're like, don't go in there. Why are you going? Seriously, don't go in there. But yeah, that's a great little moment with the head cam. The sounds, you can hear the cans, kind of little bits of white noise feedback on the cans, and then
you
figure.
Thought you saw a ghost in there as well, didn't you?
Which is like the cables.
There's that, but you.
Oh yeah, no, I did.
When
yeah,
we were watching it, you were like, "There's a ghost in there."
Yeah, but I didn't take a shot of it. But I did see a ghost.
Show everyone.
I did see a ghost.
Everyone, is there a ghost in that backstage?
When he goes down the corridor, it's to the left at the end of that corridor where he looks to the left. I think there's a ghost there.
We'll give you a minute to now load up iPlayer, find the moment. They're all too busy now combining.
Yeah, this is descended.
Cricket and coddled eggs.
The white noise was always around when the ghosts are near.
Ah.
Yeah, and flashes. There were always flashes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, there is probably a ghost in there, but then something drops the Reese heads, doesn't it? Because I don't think that's Steve.
No, and shutting the gate.
Yeah. This is how much attention we normally pay to you guys when we listen to the podcast. That explains the positive reviews.
Has someone actually counted the ghosts? No, that would be a good way of testing whether we've seen Reese's
theory,
special ghost. That's a good point. We should do that.
But yeah, I think something drops the Reese head. Because the Reese head was...
Lauren, have you got anything to say about the Reese head?
The Reese head was used not long before this in the actual scene, wasn't it? In the microwave. So for it to suddenly appear back in the props area is a bit weird.
Good point. Yep.
Unless Steve carried it through for his joke.
Yeah, and just let it teeter on the edge of a shelf and then it fell.
Now we're back to the deer chase the ghost. We're back to the jump scare, which is literally delivered as jump scare.
Jump scare.
Just in case we weren't sure that it was a jump scare.
And that then triggers the most amazing line from Reese, which is, "I could have been carrying a hot cup of tea." She's, again, like, what I love about Inside Number 9 is how British it is.
Yeah.
And how because he offers Stephanie Cole a cup of tea when she's going through her like proper being possessed moment. He's like, I'll make you a cup of tea. It's like so British.
Yeah. That actually, I like that little scene with Stephanie. And there's a lot of self-deprecation and mockingly taking themselves too seriously in that whole little section when, first of all, Reese is getting really angry about what's happened to the broadcast and is mainly concerned with whether they're getting royalty payments for a re-show of
something good to come out of
A
this.
Quiet Night In. And someone's just asked, is this part of the twist? Oh, fuck off. actually genuinely pissed off about the whole thing. Then Stephanie's there on the phone to Alan, talking about being part of Inside Number Nine. Just I didn't never heard of it either.
I've never
Just
heard of it
some
either. Yeah,
comedy thing.
some comedy, BBC comedy thing.
And then Reese comes and asks about Black Mirror. Oh no, his conversation comes in. Is like, no, that's Black Mirror.
Yeah, because she's talking about Alan's said about stuff in the technology and things like that, which is obviously a bit more Black Mirror.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a good reference because I think a lot of people have kind of compared the two, haven't they? And
I find the comparisons a little bit odd. I don't naturally think of them as like bedfellows, really.
No, I suppose it's the twists, isn't it? It's the unexpected.
That literally what it is.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that the end is usually not that predictable.
Is that how people categorize things?
Yeah.
Things that I see the ending coming, things I don't see the ending coming.
I think so, yeah.
And in the pile that has I don't see the ending coming is Inside Number 9 and Black Mirror. That's it.
Yeah.
Alison, how many times has Reese got angry on Twitter about Black Mirror? Is this a regular thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Has he got a bee in his bonnet about this? Hello, Blue Mini Jez. You are a latecomer.
Hello, a latecomer.
There's a comma needed in there.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's in the BFI interview as well, there's the reference to Mrs. Brown's Boys, which is a bit of an awkward thing.
Well, it's because it's not taken by the audience in the spirit that it was intended, I don't think.
No.
I think Mrs. Brown's Boys is one of those things that around people who make comedy, Mrs. Brown's Boys is not seen as a particularly positive thing, I think. And so when Reese kind of puts it out that there was an idea that it was going to cut to an episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys, and then the main character was going to get their head macheted off.
But they'd be in on it.
Everyone cheered as though he was kind of sort of giving credence to that view that it's dreadful.
But I love the fact he justified it. They'd be in on it. As if like,
yeah.
No, we were just going to go in and machete off Mrs. Brown's head.
I did note down while we were watching the run through though that Moira's voice does sound very much like.
Yeah, I think there's a reference to Mrs. Brown's, because I think that whole, even the kitchen setup seems quite Mrs. Brown's.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, and then she's obviously got the Irish accent and. Which they slag off. She can't even do the accent.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they complain about Stephanie, the fact that she doesn't understand the script or like what, and it's like, guys, yeah, the script is completely incoherent. Doesn't make any sense.
Again, what happens in this episode? They're talking about this again. Like, so many people want to see how this episode played out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it probably only works in a similar way to the Devil of Christmas episode, where it only works as a terrible piece of television within an episode.
Yeah.
I don't think it would stand on its own 2 feet.
But I do love how they managed to weave the layers of narratives in to things like that. Like the fact that, Stephanie Cole takes the call from Alan on the phone that's on the table that's used in the first scene. It is that phone ringing. And so then it's like, okay, well, when Arthur Flitwick was taking those calls, what level of the narrative was that at?
Yeah.
The microwaves.
Has the phone line been hacked and things like that?
Exactly, yeah. I find things like that really, yeah. It's just sort of, it's almost like an MC Escher drawing.
Slotting together.
Yeah, just kind of like, you know, those eternal steps or whatever, like just going round and everything fits together. And that's what it is, because it is all fiction at the end of the day. Like, so, yeah, it's just clever. I like it. Ah, good.
Yeah.
So, I think, yeah, we're The Onion. The Onion. I've seen The Onion mentioned.
We haven't mentioned that there's, if you've got onion in your bingo.
I've thought about The Onion for ages, man.
I would. This chat room is pretty horrific. Says Simon. I think Simon's just called bingo.
Alison Green message retracted. I really want to know what that message was.
Yeah. That's a real. It's a little teasing thing that YouTube does there. It doesn't just take it away entirely. It tells you there was something there.
Yeah.
Is there?
Why do our names have exclamation marks at the end?
It's like at the beginning of the episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a reference to.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, hello, Stephen. Yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh, Simon. I see what you're doing. Get us. I'm going to do this. Wait.
Tim Wilton Davies is just.
Oh,
yeah.
Spelled message wrong. I retracted a message.
Now they'll wonder.
Oh, good.
They'll never know.
So, this has been fun.
It has.
Well done, Alison. You did start a trend. It's fantastic.
Is there anything amongst you guys that you've noticed that we haven't spoken about?
In this episode?
In this episode, not in general. Before the chat became cursed.
This has been a great night. Yeah, after the news of another lockdown, the general mood of the nation's probably not great, but these kinds of things makes it great. So
Lauren would like us to agree with her about Reese's acting with the GoPro.
Yeah, that they were talking about that, weren't they? That, you know, the night vision scene was not live. It was a pre-record.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought they spoke about him being a little bit unsure as to where the camera was going to be pointing.
Yeah, I think.
Or was that in the other scenes?
Yeah, I think they did a pre-record that they just thought was just fantastic, so they decided to use it. But I might have that wrong. Simon?
Can we just say that Lauren's use of the word milfoil has been excellent, better than onion?
All right.
The drop death was pre-recorded. Citation needed. I think, to be honest, we could just put citation needed at the end of every episode we record.
Yeah.
She knows her onions.
When's his birthday? Who? Who needs a citation?
We all need a citation at all times. Have we had any PayPal
Oh, I don't know.
drops? Was
Does anyone want a balaclava? No, no one wants one.
We're just going to pick one of you at random in a minute and ask for your address.
Yeah, because I don't really want to keep my balaclava.
I don't want this in the house.
I have no real purpose for one.
But where am I?
Okay, if you want a balaclava, we are going to wash it first as well, or them, because of COVID, obviously. So it's all legit.
That was the plan, Alison. Yeah, we were going to look for someone who donated.
Yeah, we were going to pick someone who donated this evening, who wrote balaclava. A balaclava functions as a mask.
Does it?
Maybe I'm going to keep it.
Backwards.
Right, retracted. Offer retracted.
No, it's not going towards my stout budget. It's going towards the league charities. So the same PayPal link as earlier for the crochet dolls.
Oh, great. Chelsea is going to choose someone tomorrow choose 2 people because we've got 2 balaclavas.
Whether they want them or not.
Good. So, yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah.
No, we're going to wash them, Alison. We're going to wash them.
Like they've only been Lauren, that's weird. Look, they were they were only worn for about 7 minutes in total, I think.
I tried mine on for 30 seconds when it arrived on Thursday. Then put it on at 10 o'clock this evening. And then realised that was a bad idea. So then put it on at 10:30.
My little one found it quite amusing to have me wearing it.
Did she? She wasn't scared?
She wasn't scared. No, she thought it was quite funny.
Oh, good. That's because your face does look quite funny in a balaclava.
You could probably cut the second half of that sentence off.
Yeah, script books. Yep.
This chat has been horrendous at times.
Oh, that's good. Right. Cheers, Isla. See you soon. I think we should end this. I've got a really great ending lined up.
You're just desperate to play, aren't you?
Yeah. But once I hit the end, Lauren,
that's
calm down.
outrageous. Thank you, Simon. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Once I hit the end scene, that's it. We're all going separate ways to bed. So if you're all ready, we'll do that. Yeah. Cheers, Simon. Lovely peach. Yes.
Lauren, let it go.
Patter thievery.
Seriously, let it go.
Jeez.
Just outrageous.
Well, thank you so much to everybody for joining us. It's been really fun.
This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I hope we get to do it again at some point. Okay. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. Stick around and watch this. He's worked very hard on it.
Put hours into this. Right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Happy Halloween.